YouTube, so you want to watch what you say.
Yeah, well, we love Terry. I said Terry could tell us 800
All I
times
said
how to do
was,
this.
So
we're your most bad.
No. Okay, so it's being live
something was just
streamed and
Well, yeah, I have no idea why.
I can leave the recording paused. You can start it when you're ready. Or, but it doesn't matter. It's on live on YouTube, so you might as well turn it on, recording on too. There's no secrets at this point. No secrets at this point, so.
But I don't have.
Oh, no, you don't have to think. You're all good.
Are you saying Terry have to press something now or?
you're all good.
No,
The only thing you have to do is if someone comes in.
and we should,
And then you
say
just have to
appropriate
get 'em.
things because we're live.
Right, that's what
I
you just
know,
want
I
to.
know, yeah.
Don't talk about anybody.
And Randy now.
We managed to do one session recording the ceiling, remember that one?
Yeah.
Did you see, did you hear her catastrophe?
Well, I live on Stonial Lane, so it changed on the day of the storm. Yeah, so we were like literally trapped in Altier and I got Hannah, but then Hannah passed me on to Ralph and I was like, Ralph, hey. Yeah, so somebody, came to
Myself.
and then I went down.
Gather spectrum.
Yeah, like the CMP guys, I mean, they were just like, let's cut these wires, who cares, it's somebody else's wires, we don't care. Then I had no internet, no phone, and no TV for like 3 days, so. Yeah.
Calendar.
Yeah, and now my dog is a hotspot on top of everything, and then he's been like back and forth to the vet, like, he's been so awful at leaking. I don't know if your Maggie ever has a hotspot.
I had a St. Bernard that used to have one, and we used to put Benadryl spray on it, and that helped heal it, and he didn't like the taste, so he didn't like it.
He's wearing the.
I'm a shield man.
He figured out he was sitting on his haunches, but then he figured out if I spread that back leg out, I can still lick it.
We used to put a sock on Bigelow and duct tape it on.
But you know, the only thing about that is that then it doesn't get air.
Right, but the spray dries it out, and then you put the sock on, and you duct tape it, and we would take it after a while, we took it off, and leave it alone for a while. Spread it Benadryl down. So I don't like that. There's also something that actually.
It's like a beach whale for most of the day. He doesn't, touch it. He's got two phones. He's got a plastic person in a bubble thing. Had laser therapy. He's been really, I think there's a psychological component to it now. I mean, he is compulsed to lick that.
Yeah.
So, one night he cried all night. It's like, it's like having a toddler again. It's like,
Oh, I'll find something to spray.
Yeah.
Any guys? Yeah, there's someone, there's them all. Hannah's good at doing that, so I just pass them on to her. You're supposed to use them. Yeah, because I'll print them out from the book. I just have it.
The first.
Okay.
The first.
Yeah. Anyways, it's nice to see you again in person, live and in person. I keep forgetting them, right?
Oh. I'm interested. I love the front door.
We all had it.
The front door is locked. Jeffrey went out and the door.
We all.
I'll go and watch.
So.
You're back. Hi.
The traffic.
So you have to go back to the fence. Right, so there's another piece. Yeah, I heard it. So is vandalism a problem with those sites? Well, and I have one question is when they build these things, is there like a charging station? So that if everybody lost power, you could go to I wasn't at the site visit, so
Right.
the next meeting was Sunday.
You know, if there's some way emergency.
Make a list of these
services,
questions.
do it directly to charge.
The charging station would be another grant opportunity, you know?
You came in. Went out and the door was locked. We couldn't get in, we just walked all the way around.
We were just looking after your health.
You would be careful there.
Trying to keep you outside in this evening.
Try pulling your cell phone.
You didn't leave your island.
When?
Just now.
You wouldn't have got me out of there.
Oh, I know. Get over there. I love seeing all those bushes. One day, they all.
Boom.
I think we should invite our guests to sit
Um,
with us so that.
yeah.
they can show your, hello? Would you like to sit right with us so that?
I'm Peter Mecklenburg.
Yes.
Great.
So-
I'll open the meeting in a minute with this.
You can do it. We're
Okay,
right here.
we will now call the meeting to order. 5:30. Does anybody wish to make any adjustment to the agenda? For time reasons. All right, our review and approval of the prior meetings for March 3rd, March 10th. Well, we didn't do any of them.
No, you didn't have quorum.
Oh, okay. So we will take March 8th. Does anybody recall having any problems? with minutes at the March 8th meeting? Hearing no comment. We have a motion to get the minutes as they have been. So moved. Second, I would say all those in favor? Go through the same process for March 29th. Does anybody have recall any changes that they wanted to see in the minutes for March 29th? Hearing none, I'll
Make the motion to-
accept, has been made, second.
Second.
All those in favor, aye. Now, last month's meeting, April 12th. If anybody have any comments on April 12th?
Well, the draft I saw is not complete. We're waiting for information unless you got it
Well, there was one thing from Neil.
from Neil.
Was
Uh,
it the change to the letter?
Yeah, so this was.
New business. Neil, it's just Neil requested on behalf of, and I didn't get the person's name totally, so I just have Carla and the climate resilience. So I wanted to
Right.
put the whole name.
They locked me
So
up.
we spoke to draft of the letter, so I'm not sure how to close that.
Did you,
Right, at this point,
I told Terry and she.
one letter was sent to
Is
him,
it still locked?
Neil. Neil added some information to it and is getting it back to us, and I will. Pretty straightforward, simple thing we'd like.
Well, you should circulate that letter.
I suppose, we can do that. All right, when I get the copy from you, then I will get it. It will put it-
What would the verbiage read for that? What would the verbiage read for that sentence then?
What was the name of the person's name and
So it would be for it's a letter of support. For the Maine Community Resilience Partnership. In support of our project. To get a grant.
And Carla's last name and it's Carla White.
And you say, and the climate resilience that should be.
In terms of the Tennis Community Resilience.
At the resilience committee now or working group?
It's already been, always been community.
But working group or committee at this point? Okay,
so.
so it's the ad hoc community resilience committee. Yes,
Well, it was the Community Resilience
And-
Committee Ad Hoc Working Group.
No, but
But we have all these members now.
So what is it, what's the final decision on what's going to be called?
No, it is not a decision, it is the information.
Okay.
It has now been created.
All right, but we have three versions on the floor, so I want to know which one is going into the minutes.
That would be good.
About quick and easy.
Read what you have.
Neil requested on behalf of Carla White and the ad hoc Maine Community Resilience Committee that the STCC write a letter in support of their efforts. Henry will create a draft and send it to Neil.
That everybody have it?
The select board. And I don't, that's a
Say, what about the select board?
They actually established a community resilience ad hoc committee.
All right, so at this point, we don't know what to do.
You just said it.
It just that's what it's called.
Community resilience ad hoc.
All right, ad hoc in the middle. instead of
Ad hoc
beginning.
in the middle instead of the brush.
All right, all right, so,
And we should read and you will circulate the letter to.
well, that's for this minutes. This was a correction of last month's minutes.
Right.
It should be represented in this month's minutes as a correction of last month's minutes. That's what we just wrote down.
I agree. So I will amend it.
Right.
And just as everybody said, I will do
And
this.
and then stipulate at the end of that, letter will be circulated to the members. So is that the only correction?
Yeah, and I wasn't at the meeting.
No, I understand. No, hey.
I just noticed that that was
Right, it's good.
included.
Yeah,
And
it's
in
good.
terms of who's going to approve them,
So, hearing no other changes, wanted to make a minute, meeting. Well, as corrected. Motion to accept. Second, is there a second?
I can't say.
Oh, you can't say.
Abstain.
Oh, second, okay. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you. All right, so now we go, update on Earth Day, April 22nd. From what I can gather, it went pretty well. I mean, I'd like to see a greater turnout in the future, but I think it went really well. A significant amount of trash did get picked up.
Good.
More than usual because you,
About the same as the
about the
last
same
time,
as usual.
but
Um,
it wasn't all picked up on buttermilk.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty.
There's a couple things that I saw that I might think about, bringing up at other meetings about what we might do next time around and stuff like that, little changes. The barbecue at the end of it was simple, but a few people did enjoy it and stuff like that.
Thank you, Henry.
I have decided that one thing that I'm going to do is get a couple more signs made that simply say this Saturday. And you can put the signs out about the thing 2 weeks before, but then you put this Saturday signs out. Any other comments on birthday? Thank you so much for your help.
Thank you for
Seriously.
yours.
Did you get back all your signs? Nothing was
As far as
lost?
I know, I still have 2 of them in the back of the car.
We did get all our clippers back, didn't we?
And so everybody's aware of it, those things are
Hmm?
stored in the basement.
We did. I'm asking more than telling. Henry, we got all our picker-uppers, whatever they're called, back, right? Yeah, garbage grabbers.
Oh, how classy.
Update on Klein and Smith property offers, its office for sale, land conservation, or RE property sale, and paper.
Right. So the target, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be coughing on. Target's still moving, but in a good direction. The select board and budget committee have voted on articles, although the articles are still in draft and bits of the playing field are changing a little. On the Klein property, hold on a second, I've got somewhere the draft that we voted on, which is not final, but will give you a general flavor. Okay. Article 6 is on the Klein property. It's at that point, it said, see if the town will authorize the select board to expand up to 12,500 from undesignated fund balance and from any grants or donations that may be available to purchase 2 parcels of land consisting of 11 acres more or less identified on the town's tax map as map 8 lot 2 and map 8 lot 3. And is more particularly described in the deed found at yada yada, under such other terms and conditions as the select board deems advisable.
Excuse me, that's the Klein property, right?
That's Klein. The thing that's changed, and then the budget committee the select board recommends purchase without stating an amount. And the budget committee is also going to do that. What's changed is that on closer examination, John Spear realized that that little rectangle that is in
The middle.
in the middle of Jeff Smith's land is also in the deed.
Mhm.
However, it is separately assessed at 6,500.
A little tiny piece?
Yeah, a little tiny bit. I think there's a
There's a
building on it.
shop
There
on
was,
it.
or there's I think there was a hunter's cabin on it at some point. Anyways, it's assessed at 6,500. And back and forth with the realtor. Result is that she is saying they want 17,000 or no dice.
I'd say no
So,
dice.
Well, that's for the town to
That's what
decide.
I'm thinking. I mean, if we-
Anyway, so I think the select board decision last night is to take out the amount in the warrant article, explain to the town and see where the chips fall.
So as far as the Conservation Commission was asked to think about this, we presented the information in the paper that you wrote, the white paper that you wrote about town land. And basically they decided to proceed with it by the process that it's available to them to proceed with it. So in that sense, we've done what our responsibility. Everything else that's going to happen with that.
I'll get to our responsibility at the end, which is to publicize
Right,
widely.
Yeah.
The whole opportunity, which is going to come as a complete surprise to most of the town.
right.
I mean,
Well, the
this whole-
Smith property is very reasonably priced.
Oh, well, we'll get there in a second, but yes, it is. It's an enormous deal. He's offering it at a third of its assessed valuation.
Yeah, I'm limiting the discussion on this one piece of property this time. Right. So I agree with you. It's just that as the Conservation Commission, we should put forward that we think that whatever we can do to support the town.
We already
getting
We
it.
already have committed, Catherine and I committed us, and it may be
To
just
this like-
Catherine and me, to do a major educational program between now and town meeting in terms of doing write-ups, presentations,
Okay,
pictorial information, mapping, everything. So as many townspeople as possible before town meeting.
It will be an informational meeting that's already went out.
Right,
You know,
but to get ahead of ourselves, right?
Yeah, 2 days, so we will definitely
Yes.
present.
We will present it that.
I'm sorry, is that what happened?
Today, there is an email that came through from the SERB announcing a public information meeting on the 30th of May.
Yeah.
And so it would be probably in the Fire Bay.
To discuss.
No,
to
no, they
discuss.
said it would be here.
Here, so here.
To dis-
I'm
discuss
just,
the Klein property?
are we just talking just about the Klein property right now?
No,
I'm trying, but you know, if
I guess I don't understand. I'm sorry. I just don't understand what we're
you could
doing.
wait on that, just hold the thought that after I tell you what's happened on the warrant article, we could go to the educational part.
That's for the future. We don't need to do that.
We need to do it today.
Okay.
Right, okay, back on the Klein property, the wrinkle is that now they are saying that if, I gather she's saying that if we were to offer to pay them 17,000, they'd take it. But for any less, they'll put it on the market. Now, that may be an interesting gambit on her part because that's a lot of money for somebody. You know, she's gonna go back and ask for 35, who knows if she get it. But anyway, it's, if we don't get the Klein property, it would be unfortunate, but not a disaster. So that's the Klein situation. Then we also, the select board and budget committee, the select board drafted a warrant article, which is also changing, the reason I'll tell you in a minute, on the Smith property. That said, to see if the town will authorize the select board to expend up to 50,000 from undesignated fund balance and from any grants or donations that may be available to purchase Jeff Smith's 118 parcels as legally described, yada, yada. What? 50,000? 50,000 for 118 acres assessed at 179. Under the restrictions imposed by the current owner that the land shall be preserved in forever wild conservation protection, with the exception of the construction and maintenance of walking trails, hunting and snowmobiling would be permissible. No ATVs would be allowed on the property, and under such other terms and conditions as the select board deems advisable. Any questions so far?
Just in the, what they're gonna put in the warrant, the no snowmobile?
No.
No ATV.
House feels okay, no ATV,
No ATV.
right?
And it's a draft.
Well, no, but that is what Jeff
Smith wanted, yeah.
Jeff Smith and the select board have agreed to. They had a discussion. He
So,
said hunting's fine. Anything you can do with 2 feet. Walking, snowshoeing, skiing. He didn't specifically say bicycling. I'm not sure that's going to be exactly bicycle fit territory.
What was allowed?
You and I have been on that.
Everything was
area.
allowed
You'd be
except
hiking.
Yeah, on my property once I put a sign that said no motorized accent,
right,
accent.
right, but
He's gonna allow snowmobiles, but not ATVs?
The snowmobiles don't do damage to the trail if there is a good snow cover.
No, but they do damage if they don't stay on the trail.
He's saying,
the weeds for where we are right now. I mean, I look at this as far as the Smith property goes. Me brought up at another meeting, I did hear it, but I have nothing but support for them trying to do this, but as the Conservation Commission stipulated that the Conservation Commission support that, take ownership of that.
Nobody's asking us. They already asked whether we thought it was a good deal to buy it, and we said we did.
Yes,
And that's when we said we supported the whole
Yeah.
effort.
right.
At that point, we weren't talking about anything but beyond trails, but we also weren't thinking that anything to out.
All right. So
The
as,
wrinkle there, it turns out, is that Don Prothero, who is abutting the Smith property, is concerned that right now Jeff Smith has a right of way over his land to get to part of the Smith land. And that we would, if we purchased it, we would purchase that right of way. And that would mean theoretically, the entire town could thunder through Don Prothero's property. So John Spear's been talking to Don, understands that that's a legitimate concern. What they've arrived at is the town would not need that right of way once we had created our own access, but right now there is no access but with a machete. So he's in discussion with Don about, well, maybe for a year or so after we bought, until we could build our own trail. And then, until we build our own trail, nobody can get in anyway. So he's working with the town attorney and with Dawn, and they've come up with some language, which I don't have, because that came after this, that would authorize the town to work with Jeff in the negotiations for
Mhm.
sale. Just, it would, and the article will specifically authorize the the select board to create whatever conditions, do whatever it needs to concerning access, including extinguishing that right.
Yes, because we would not need it.
We would not want it, and we don't want an unhappy
A butter.
neighbor. Right, so that's the only deal there. We're still, we both voted, the select board and the budget committee, to recommend purchase at 50,000. So,
The plans for that, is it raising taxes out of general fund or?
that's what it specifically says. It will come out of surplus to the extent needed. But the hope is that we will raise money through grants and donations for all of those super costs.
Okay,
And that will be another task that the Conservation Commission will have.
right,
It's-
excellent. Thank you very much.
So the is 50 for the large one and 17 for the other.
17, but
Is that
But
the little one or the whole thing? No, it's just the,
17 for the whole- 17 is for the 11 acres more or less.
Yeah.
Yes,
But I'm thinking of, money wise, but the smaller one, if I remember correctly from the presentation, has different. And has old growth.
The intrinsic
Yes.
value could be
well,
different.
at
An
least
acre is not
mature
always an
trees, yes.
acre.
Oh, yes, it's, but it's take it or leave it. That's what is being offered. And we asked the town at that price, do you want to offer?
Yeah, I mean, as the conservation commission, the ability for the town to pick up this land, because this is one of the largest unfragmented blocks of land. It's got one road that goes through it. It's part of the coast of Maine. It's an important thing to preserve. That we've done, and the selectmen seem to be doing everything they can to do this.
Yeah.
And then, as you were saying, we need to sit back there and somehow get out to the public of what the value of doing this particular piece is. What the town ends up doing, in my opinion, my thoughts would always be good to force you to go look at it, find out where the value, where the deer herds are, where all the different things are about it, and then start making up your plans of how you're going to access it or whether you.
Well,
But that's
Yeah.
a long process.
But that's on the.
You gotta
plus-
buy it first,
Well, we have to persuade the town
Town to
that
vote
it's
for it.
in their best interest to buy it
Yeah.
first. So we need to say not just what a great conservation
are
opportunity.
we talking Klein, Smith, or both now?
It's two separate.
I understand what they are.
warrant
Just what are we talking about?
Well-
Convince the town for the Smith or both?
Definitely for the Smith.
Yes, that's
Right.
And the Smith is a
an unbelievable
phenomenal
deal. Of course, it is.
Yeah.
The other is,
Not such an incredible deal.
well, but it is another 11 acres.
But-
So it's gonna be, and hopefully we can get grant money to buy all of it.
Now, as far as,
Let me just please finish. We also need to address concerns townspeople may have, and the first one is easy. They're gonna say, what'll it do to my taxes? And the answer is not a thing. That is very good because the select board decided to use surplus if need be. But then there is also the kind of question that Walter raised, which is, okay, but that's still like $50,000 or $67,000 that is not available for something else. So, and I think part of our answer there is, well, we hope it actually won't come out of surplus. This ought to be eligible for grants. And the Jeff Smith property, the Klein property, we have a gun to our heads. Make an offer, either the town meeting votes to authorize the select board to offer what they're asking, or they'll put it on the market.
Well,
Right.
something about
But
that.
Jeff Smith
Anything else
is
on this?
willing to negotiate with us over time to get it right.
Is there anything else on this issue that progresses along? We know where we stand on it now. We know that the selectmen are gonna put forward.
But
the
are
two
we-
warrant Articles, and we know that the amount of money is different, and the people get to vote on whether or not they wanna do that.
And then, and we can, it can be a separate vote.
It's
Oh,
two
oh,
separate
yes.
warrants.
That's
Two
what my
separate
question
votes.
was. That's
And
my
they are
question.
both,
Okay,
it's clear
Yeah,
from both, that
gotcha.
neither is conditioned on the other.
Yeah.
Right.
exactly, which is, which is,
That's another important thing to explain to people.
it's not either or.
It's
I mean, it's not,
It's not, you must do both.
Yeah.
Both or nothing. It's choose one or not, choose the other or not.
You had mentioned about doing a publicity thing. Is that something that you're doing now?
Yeah. We are going to have it. We're working on a write-up, starting with my
Excuse
recommendation.
me.
kind of interesting. Fun.
Yeah.
Oh, you have it, okay.
Starting with my recommendation. Building on it, is dealing with issues that is in them. Dealing with any concern some people might raise that we can imagine. So that we'll send something out to the listener, have it on the website, maybe put some work on getting you have kind of days and even that's too high.
And you put together that list of things, places.
Well, yeah, but that is when we put up posters and things that we're trying
My
to.
primary question is, are you still both willing to keep doing it?
Of course.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. Is anything else on this particular? Because we got a lot on the plate.
Any
here.
other questions people have?
I just wanted to ask if the meeting we're having on the 30th. Could some, press people be invited?
That's a good thing. It's a good idea. It's not just on this, it is on,
Give a little article.
there's another couple warrant articles that they want to highlight, like, one of them is considering a different form of town government.
Oh, yeah, but that's not our.
No, I'm just saying,
That's
we're
what
not
you
the
don't
whole
have to
show.
see.
Okay.
Well, I mean.
I don't want to get into this. Right? We have two other summations to do tonight. So unless there's something that's different than what we've been talking about, is there anything else on this particular issue? I'm not sorry to rush. You've done a wonderful job. And thank you for everything you've done. Update on community resilience partnership.
What
So
about
the- Dan, wanna go?
Oh, my God. No, actually, I think, it's just, it's so exciting because it's going and it's, you know, the support is just amazing. And
So last Friday with the site visit, I took Andrews, John Spears, heavily involved in this now.
Yeah,
Because he's on the RFP. The RFP was created and it's gone out.
yeah.
So,
Does it mean the third vendor out?
yeah. And so I don't, because I wasn't at last Sunday's meeting, I don't have the results of that site visit. But in terms of what's happening, we've moved from the roof to a grid,
Mhm.
and we've moved from an encumbered site to an unencumbered site. So now the request, so what can they do the project for 50,000?
Right, because you got to hook up to it.
Right. So right now we're waiting for a response.
Okay.
on
I
their
said
fee.
it was just two. And they were together as they did the site visit,
Right,
which probably.
excellent.
And John now is the point of contact.
So we have to wait till, or the town needs to wait till the RFPs come back to see if anybody can do it in the budget. Agreed. Amount of money. Okay.
Or, I keep saying this, if it turns out we can't do what we want to do with 50,000, to look into additional funding from other sources, because this is just too good an opportunity. You know, the max on the grant is 50,000,
Right.
that's all we can get. And if it turns out it's gonna cost 60,000, I really think that it's in the best interest
It's
of a town to
right.
set someone up.
So the question there and so.
So, have both vendors looked at the consumption, the needs of the town? But you were mentioning in another email that you were missing the data. No,
And what about the RFPs out, you got the data.
like what data are you missing? Like you sent another memo saying you didn't get access to some data from the town.
It's, well, one I said, I think one was a street light, which I did get. The other is kind of outside the municipal area. We're expecting to get some traffic data on greenhouse emissions, but that was
Yeah,
not.
okay, so that's not.
Right.
So the consumption includes, I mean, that's been studying from which time to which time?
As far as I know, it was from 2022. I can go back and reach out.
The 2022 from, because did it include the consumption of Guilford Butler over the winter?
I'd have to go back and,
Yeah,
but overall for $50,000, there's no way that we're getting a solar farm that's going to compete in the area.
but the point is, at some point, we may want an addition, you know, to have the whole town supply, or, you know, if we start an installation, you know, having it room for expansion would be the.
Right. But that would be a whole other grant process and everything else. So as things stand right now.
Which is the encouraging thing to say,
Right.
this is our first.
Right.
Get this under our belt.
Right.
And then things like Catherine bring up, say, okay.
Right. Well, you build up a group of people in town that been through the process before and can stimulate it along. Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Just get easier and easier.
That's what they say.
Henry,
Um,
Henry?
So I'm gonna do, I'm,
Okay, she wants to.
I just have a question. Were you gonna cover point C, which is the update on the STCC budget or? Yeah.
not having my glasses. I got this built as big as I can possibly make it, but.
Sorry.
So the update is simple. And like last year, we have the select board and budget committee both agreeing to recommend the amount we asked for.
Excellent.
500 and ten.
Thank you. Yeah, so that was C, I'm sorry. The next thing on the thing is the repair, repurpose, recycle, and I'm looking over at Peter. I don't know, Peter, were you planning on being here till the end of the meeting? Because.
Oh, actually, I did, but.
No, Theo, do you mind if we?
Well, I'm happy to have Peter here so that he can see what we're talking about and hopefully will want to join us.
To be decided, but I would like to withdraw my proposal because I understand that one of the persons at the end of the road down there, at least I have heard this, may not want anybody walking around. And I don't feel as a new person in town that I should be alienating anybody at this point. I'm more solid, more established than we were.
Mhm.
But I live around the neighborhood and same as CEO, we all close. And I do walk down Snow Hill Lane and every time I say, why isn't there a connection, you know, to go to Browns Road? That would make it so much more pleasant. So I think you may want to table it now, but it's something that's of interest to more people than you're saying.
He's correct. There is somebody who is saying that the land belongs to Georgia with the land trust and you're not allowed to walk on it.
And that's peculiar.
I know, and I believe it until I talked to Annette. And I'm like, and she says, no, that's not true. And anyway, he's just trying to deter most of them. And he is, you know, he is on that street. So that-
But we understand, Peter. I understand that as a new person. I understand.
in front of the people and shooting first, thinking later.
Oh,
You know what? It's a good idea and maybe it just needs to sit a little longer.
Yes,
Yeah.
Maybe that guy will move or something.
Maybe some of the, yeah, you won't be on the front line of other people.
Put you back, you know.
Yeah. And if things work out for us, we're gonna have trails, the trail expertise all over the place, so we're gonna give you plenty of experience, hopefully in the future.
Don't leave us, just, you know, be willing.
No, I wasn't doing that so you get up to leave, I just.
Mhm.
you know.
No, I appreciate what you're doing. It's, we're actually kind of tired of trying to get some groundwork done, and the guy just showed up this afternoon, says, well, I could be there tomorrow morning.
Joys of property ownership.
Mhm.
Thank you for coming in.
Yes. Thank you for the
We're a
invitation.
fun group, so-
And we certainly understand that as a new, and so we do.
Let me know when you party, I'll be here.
Then you can join as an associate member, you don't have, there's only 7 voting members. But there's no limit on the associate.
Yeah, and it also means that there's experience coming up the ranks when people decide they don't want to do it. All right, so now we can further.
Thank you,
discuss
Peter.
Air repurpose and recycle.
And
Yeah.
Terry, what you want to do?
Wow.
Mhm.
This is a gift from Sid Warrior. And he said that we can have it. And it's perfect, because it's exactly what I
Oh.
was talking about. And, you know, to get people to come in, there's been some really good ideas. There's apparently other communities who've done something like this, and they do a repair cafe or something like that. Now, I am leaving Tuesday, and I will be back until July, so this is clearly not gonna happen. But I want you to get as excited about it. It's not.
Other local communities done that, or just communities in America? Okay.
I'm just so pressed,
Okay.
ready to go, but I did want you to see this.
Thank you.
This is, you know, we've already got our publicity
Mhm.
thing right now, so.
That's really good.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
So,
Where are you going?
Santa Fe for 3 weeks, and then I'm going to the Dry Tortugas to catch sharks.
The what?
The
Dry Tortugas National Park.
Oh,
I'm glad you asked. Is a 70-mile boat ride from Key West
Yeah.
to,
Cuba? No.
no, actually, it's as far as.
Not quite the same
Yes,
direction.
right, but this is different. It's friendly west.
Yeah, sounds interesting.
So, anyway, so we do this every year. The sharks choose to mate in June and July, which of course humans don't want to be in the Florida Keys in June and July, but the sharks. got that in there.
Have a good time.
Okay. and,
Be careful.
Oh, I'm always.
Don't fall in the water with the sharks mating.
What do you mean? Doesn't look so bad.
Yeah.
He's a jag, so.
Welcome to the food chain.
Yeah.
Further discussion concerning priorities for the coming year. One of the things we've gone over a little bit, it's like the Knox County group is one of the things we're looking at. Waste disposal is something that's come up. Continue the thing with speakers, and then looking at the way we're trying to work with other conservation groups in Knox County is to try to do speakers in conjunction with them, maybe, you know, or if they have a night further into the Knox County and the speakers just pack them in. Might be something we'd like to know because of the information probably went down here.
On speakers, Skip said that he would come in and do a talk on how the trash system works, if you were interested.
So how the waste recycling works?
How it works for us and in,
Right.
and in general, yeah. He's one of our representatives on the.
Yeah, no, I think that's a wonderful thing to try to teach people. The one thing before we started to publicize that as conservation, we definitely run that one by the selectmen. Because for selectmen, trash removal is one of the biggest things that they ever think about. So I would not spring this on them. But I think that's a great idea.
Mhm.
I make a motion that we start to develop a list of potential speakers that we can call on to do programming and then work on the logistics of it.
Okay, just maybe amendment to change that a little bit. It's not necessarily speakers, it's program,
Okay,
a list of program. And then that would take in speakers. So if you want to change the motion to the list of programs, proposed programming, yeah,
including speakers.
I'd say, yeah.
Okay.
All those in favor of starting that list, just,
Yeah.
yeah. And I know somebody that's gonna be really rested about a month. Pick up that responsibility. Anything, I mean, this is everybody, this is anything you think in the coming year that we really need.
Trail development.
Trail,
I mean,
that's okay.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Great.
Oh, absolutely.
So grants and trail development.
Even if we don't get any of those programs.
Right.
We still have the different here,
Right.
begging for attention.
Yeah, I was talking with Sandra the other day. I'm in the process of talking with some people now about trails for my particular piece of property. I'm very interested in handicap access and stuff like that. So I'm just beginning to, I've sent out a couple of emails, a couple of letters, and a phone call. I'm just starting to get back to them. So as I start, because this is all about grants, as I start to get that information, I'll,
Are you-
start reading it.
Saying that you're going to offer public access to your program.
Oh, yeah, yes. Yeah.
All right, so have you applied for, tax abatement for, like?
Oh, I know about all. I just haven't done it. Because I have, right now, I can't let public access because if it got popular. Yeah, so anyways, as far as trails and grant writing and trail development and creation, I'm looking into that for personal reasons. I'll continue to pass the information on.
Is everybody going on that walk on the 15th?
I know I am.
Which one is this? What is that?
The district forester
I didn't see that.
is coming Monday at 1 p.m. We're going to meet in the parking lot. And at this point, we will go over the survey of the plot that was done so that we can see its bearing.
Right.
This coming Monday?
Yeah, that's been announced multiple times. And
That was an email
We just
back
put that on
before.
But
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything.
Yeah,
about
we'll
that.
have
Oh,
to-
maybe I
Get
didn't
in
read
that
anything.
file today.
Send you the email.
Yeah, Monday.
1 p.m. Monday, and so, we have a communication and we wanted, I told him what we are looking for, essentially assessing the health and wellness of all the trees, the species, if we have anything invasive that we
Right.
need to take care of.
Mhm.
Also look at the habitat and recognize
Oh,
the fauna, flora that needs protection in particular, and also give us some hints on where to put the trail so that they would do the least damage to the environment. And it is, some of his wife or Alyssa is actually our district forester for our district, but she sent me to him because he's more of an expert at trails and so forth.
Before we go.
Yeah.
What members of the Conservation Commission think they might be able to attend? We need to be a little careful about forum. I can be there.
I'd like to go.
I might possibly go.
So there might be four.
It's going to be quite a bit of walking, so we don't need a forum.
If there's four members, if we're four members, there's a quorum on the.
We shouldn't be talking.
If four members are a quorum, all you need to do at the meeting is whoever the vice chairman, whoever the person is, just needs to call the meeting in order and they need to end it, and then in the minutes need to reflect that we took a walk. That's just the legal aspect of inadvertently having a quorum show up at an event. The only reason I care about this is that sometimes people get upset at things and they'll find any reason they can. So if four of you show up, merely make sure that it gets registered as minutes of a meeting. It only needs to say took a walk to review property.
Okay.
I will try. I'm not sure if I can.
It's only three of you, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, that's true.
Well, that's
Highly
what my
encouraged.
interest.
Highly encouraged. Highly encouraged.
So you're going through this stuff, this property again? Is that what you're going?
I agree with you 100%. Believe it. Play the game.
And that's what I meant.
Oh.
I meant, I didn't, we're gonna do that again?
I'll
With-
send you the, yeah.
Okay,
so the
thank you.
forester.
Yeah, I missed that. So,
I
Okay,
will send, yeah,
thank you.
but this official, this official person.
Yeah, no, it's not a problem.
Leo, are you not thinking of going?
I'm not, I, if, I don't know, because
You'll
I'm
be
going.
gone.
I'd like to come, but I'll come back home.
Yeah, as I said, it's only if there's 4 members of the.
We get it.
Appointed members of the board, simply do that. It's all you need to do, and no one's ever gonna care about this except. I think.
Will do.
Right.
So again, this, I look at this further discussion, concern, this is something that we're gonna be developing all along, but I think getting the program, starting to really try to nail the programming down, and I think when Sandra and I were talking about this is because she's very involved in trying to do the county thing, countywide. You know, getting conservation commissions to talk, is to see what we can do in conjunction with that, because it is something that pulls us together. But birds and animals don't see town lines. I got down, I'm going down to 8, we did that. So then I go down to I, the status of non-appropriated funds for more science. Basically, how much money do we have left in the non-appropriated fund balance that we had?
We probably have to ask.
Okay,
Yeah,
You spent virtually everything we had.
as far as the budget goes, right, yes,
But I think there was a donation, I don't.
right,
know how much? So there may be a scrap. in
okay.
there.
maybe we should, it's a regular thing at every meeting, just appoint somebody who goes and gets that information. And then,
I don't think we need to do it every meeting. We only need to do it if we're thinking we need to spend money.
Right.
Well, I would like to do it every meeting.
Well, you're appointed.
Except this month.
Every meeting when you're in town,
Yeah.
you can do it.
Once you're rested up. I have under correspondence, April 20th email from Linda Oaks concerning pond here.
What?
Can I do new business?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, relative to what you just said, I've made the decision, when the annual meeting comes to not ask to be reappointed as a commissioner.
Okay,
And I am going to request to be appointed as an associate member of the Conservation Commission. And I'll send a notice to the select board to let them know about that, so they can start thinking about, filling my spot. I've got, there's some people that are associates now who are very active and I hope will consider becoming, asking to become a commissioner.
Don't think so. We know of 2. What about the one you live with?
He will not do it.
Then we don't have any prospects.
We do have one very, very highly qualified.
No, she's just shaking her head vehemently. We do not.
you're anyways. You're anyways.
Like the chooses. We have to come out to this board.
But people can.
We need roots. We need roots.
So anyway.
Thank you, for your,
the
I'm
heads
sorry to
up is
hear that. I
good.
don't want to say thank you for the news.
When I go away, I'm just not gonna be here. Probably meeting the way it is.
Any other new business? And then we had, the correspondence was concerning a pond on Route 73. I read the email, original thread. Somebody said it's a state road, enough that.
Well, I wrote it.
Email to the
I did too.
person explaining, about it, and
Yeah,
the next email they sent was as if they'd never heard it, so.
right. No, it's a state road. And,
I didn't know there was anybody in that house besides the family, and
Right.
I gotta ask somebody who would know
Yeah.
what happened.
Yeah, I will say that I tried very hard not to say the town I came from, but the town I came from, our annual budget on dealing with beavers ran around $2,800, $3,500 a year, because we had a lot.
So what is it? Because it's Linda or female being Dan. So I'm just curious, what is the story about?
It's a state road. There's 2 ways that you can deal with beavers. It's number one, well, I don't know, Maine might be a little bit different, but you can have a licensed trapper trap a beaver out during the season. the actual beaver season. Right, or you can pay us an exorbitant amount of money to have a guy that's got a special license to trap beaver whenever they're causing a problem. That gets rid of the problem for a while until a new beaver comes in, right? Or the other thing you can do is you can spend about $3,500 doing a retrofit on your culverts so that beavers can no longer plug up the culvert and make it completely non-functioning. That every time you have a ice freeze in the winter, means you have to basically replace it in the spring. So it costs you around $1,000 a year not to kill a beaver.
I do that.
It's a pragmatic decision, but the response, I'm going to cut it off at this point. The response from whoever it was that sent in the response was absolutely correct. It's a state road and not a town problem.
Well, I wrote one. Did you write one too?
Yeah, I wrote to them and the people, the Linda and Larry,
Yeah.
and
Bungie.
So to me, it says we need a formal process on how to respond to emails, because there were a couple that sprung up and, you know, they went unanswered for a while.
Right.
And I responded today and said, it's on the agenda meantime, please include the Conservation Commission.
Yeah. The one that I wrote, I'm pretty sure all of you got that letter.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go, this is sort of new business and I'm gonna make for the minutes, it's not that, you raise a good point. It's something under new businesses, we just sort of need to come up with a response pattern. We're not gonna do it tonight, put that on the agenda. Maybe if anybody thinks about it during the next month, but we'll at least start the discussion at the next meeting. What the particular problems are and how they could grow into something, be a bigger problem.
Should there be like an acknowledgement right away and, you know, saying at least that the person has been heard and that.
Yes,
you know,
Right.
That would
Yeah.
go a long way.
Okay, no, that's your
But
point.
I would also like, yes, the road is a state road, but the land that the beaver is on is presumably town land or land in the town.
Well, the state owns so
The
many.
state owns, well, that would be,
It owns a lot more than what people see.
well, they own the right of way, right? I don't know how far
Well,
out.
I mean, where the dam is, as far as I can see, was within the state.
Well, I cannot picture it. I don't know exactly where she's talking about it.
We'll walk down there.
I'm on,
And
okay.
what I tried to do was explain that lake that she was worried about is a new thing.
Mhm.
It didn't exist just a
5 years
handful of
ago.
years ago. Before the beavers dammed it up.
Right, no, forget it.
It's the brook that comes
They love
across.
culverts, they just love culverts. They did all the work for
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Okay. I don't know if Conservation Commission's position is to sit down and come up with a way to deal with this particular problem, because it ends up being, it's a municipal problem. It deals with roads and stuff like that. No one would care if a beaver flooded the culvert if it never flooded a road. But it makes roads unsafe. That's why people care about it.
I think she just wanted an answer of some sort.
Yes,
And
no,
I
I,
think she,
as I said in the very beginning, whoever who said the answer was absolutely the right answer.
That it was temporary.
Yeah.
Water
Yeah.
there, and you can see now that it went away, that there's only the channel and it killed all that vegetation, out on the side, but it was only like this deep.
Right. All right, anything else? Thank you.
second,
Let me just get along. So I have a motion to adjourn.
second.
Second, any discussion on that? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
You can also say, hearing no objection, I adjourn the meeting
Hearing no objection. I adjourn.
without even getting a vote.
That's even faster.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
With your experience with closing meetings.
The,
I was saying why I have been the only one, the only committee that ever saw the stuff from St. George about that. And you saw it. We went down to the down. And that came out, I had it.
I love it when Terry sets it up for us.
Okay.
Well, what did I do here? And how about going down here and hitting and?
Yeah, but